Like just taking off all of the different elements and maladies that you've described, how should somebody that is currently dealing with burnout get out the other side of it?
Yeah, burnout is a fascinating phenomenon for that reason. And there's so much that influences how burnt out we are. But I think keeping kind of an eye on the ball, that chronic stress is what causes that phenomenon of burnout. Chronic stress is, we've all heard the term, but really dissecting the sources of chronic stress we face in our life. So we have two kinds of stress that we face all day long, day in, day out, every single day. There's acute stress, which is the once-off moment. It's, the traffic jam on the way to the airport. It's the once-off argument with your spouse that's a huge pain to get through, and it's what forces you to grow. But it's the chronic stress is the no good, very bad kind of stress that we face repeatedly. Instead of the argument with our spouse, it's the irreconcilable feelings we have when we see their dumb, stupid face. When we, instead of the traffic jam, it's the traffic we encounter every day in rush hour on our way to the office. That's like an hour and a half on the other side of town. Really understanding the stress that exists in your life is the recipe for overcoming this burnout phenomenon. So first of all, dissect those 6 areas where the chronic stress, because that's where you should spotlight. Those are the kind of petri dishes in our work that this stress tends to metastasize and grow and expand to fit a level that we don't really have the capacity to cope with. But then we have all the stress that's hidden in our life all throughout our days. So anything threatening that you pay attention to over the course of the day is likely a source of hidden chronic stress in your life. There was one study that was conducted around the 2013 Boston Marathon bombings, and the team of researchers looked at 2 groups of people. The first group of people were those who watched 6 or more hours of news coverage about the bombings, and the second group of people were runners in the actual marathon. And what the team of researchers found was those who watched 6 or more hours of news coverage about the bombings were more likely to develop post-traumatic stress disorder, and they experienced a higher level of chronic stress than those who were in the marathon and personally affected by it. And so that's shocking to me. Encountering studies and statistics are usually not that motivating. They usually don't drive us to action. But that one was kind of a holy shit moment. Is this really how my mind interprets the news? So I compartmentalized the news checking to just one newspaper each and every day. I compartmentalized social media time to one block within the middle of the workday, so I could just get it done and get on with my life. Anything else that I eliminated one threatening, not threatening, but one toxic relationship in my life over the course of this project to great success. It kind of freed up a lot of mental and emotional bandwidth. And so really dissecting the chronic, list it if you want. List every source of stress you face over the course of the day. Divide it into chronic stress and acute stress. And under chronic stress, do mind the stuff that's hidden, because all this stuff can lead us away from calm and towards anxiety as well, not just this burnout.
Okay, so somebody has realized, wow, I'm watching way too much of the news, and the CCP's algorithm on TikTok is making me feel like I want to throw myself out the window.
Seriously, yeah.
All the rest of it. But they're still stuck in this particular embodied state. Is there anything that you found as you're in burnout, this is an ejector button that you can push, which is going to help to actually really reinvigorate you if you are feeling cynical, unproductive, low in energy, demotivated? What were the quickest ways that you found to get yourself back from that?
Yeah, so one simple way is to define productivity hours every single day. Burnout has traditionally been defined as a workplace phenomenon, and that's not to say that it still is. We have stress that comes in from every direction of our life right now, from our personal lives to our work lives, but defining boundaries around that pursuit of productivity at work is one of the most powerful strategies that I personally like to deploy every single day. So at the start of the day, I'll choose when I start to care about productivity, and I'll define when I'll stop caring about productivity. These days, it's around 10 to 6, and so I have the mornings for just starting things off slow and deliberately, and carving out a bit of time for meditation and reading, and just having this slow morning that can lead to this calm, deliberate day. And then having this wind down ritual at the end of the workday, where I can choose to no longer care about accomplishment. And so, that goes back to that accomplishment mindset as well, is when we're in this acquisition mentality. This acquisition mentality leads us away from this presence, this calm in our life. And so the more we focus on acquiring, the less we actually enjoy ourselves. And so these productivity hours can kind of serve that double purpose of limiting your workload, gaining more control over your day, having that reward at the end of the day. So even if these external circumstances aren't put around the boundaries of your work by somebody else, you can choose to do this yourself. And if you're not paid to be on call, don't be on call. If you're not paid to be connected in the evenings, don't connect in the evenings. And I think that the irony of this is it's often by stepping back that we become more productive. It's by stepping back we actually recharge. We can actually spend more time in the analog world and not just stare at screens all day long. The most calming, energizing parts of our life are found in the analog, not in the digital. We can actually step back from this big source of chronic stress in our life and turn to the hopefully more acute sources of chronic stress and meaningful, or not chronic, acute stress in our personal lives. And so defining boundaries around that practice is critical.
That bleed out from a period of productivity into the laptop is still open, I'm still working away, I've got something in the back of my mind that needs to be done. It's just, it permeates everything, right? The entire fabric of your life is ambiently anxious because there is always the option to do work. You could always be doing work. Everybody could always be scouting
all the time.
Scouting for more clients or networking more effectively, or spending time building up their LinkedIn profile, or whatever it is, right? Researching the next piece of content that they're going to write. And yes, I read a while ago that the ancient Greek word for work was translated as not at play, which was interesting because the set point that we see now is that play is an aberration and work is the set. Previously, it was the other way around, that play is the set point and work was the aberration. Work was the thing you had to get done. And I always like thinking about that in relation. It might be total bollocks, but I always like thinking about it as a concept. When it comes to